Welcome. So we begin testing for Dior Sauvage today. So we have XP12 from the house of XLNC. We have Sauvage from Alternate Fragrances, and we have Sauvage from Muzna Fragrances. Okay, they're all well macerated. I've had this for about 6 months plus. DK's fragrances are anyway well macerated. So is Muzna Bice, right? So we have the OG with us, okay, a decant, and we're going to try this with all of the others. Okay, so let me go with the OG on my wrist as usual. 2 sprays, and then let's do Muzna Bice Sauvage on here. 2 sprays. Very soon we'll move into test sprays. They're on the way. So XLNC on here, and Alternate Fragrances, let's go here. Okay, so at the opening, DK's is closer to this, but I think it should take some time to settle down. So I will make my notes and we'll come back later. Thanks. Welcome back. So we've completed the testing of Dior Sauvage, and we had to run it twice to calibrate on the results, and we are going to have a very interesting outcome. So let's get started. So we started the test at 10:55 a.m. almost 11 o'clock, and at the very opening the note scent profile is very similar on all. After about 5-10 minutes it kind of all of them, be it the OG, XP12, DK's Alt, and then of course Muzna, all of them kind of settle down very quickly in about 5-10 minutes, and then the scent profile is very similar. The DK's Alt and the OG are very close to each other at the opening. In the initial 5-10 minutes they're very close, very well rounded, very smooth. So let me quickly do one spray each, just to come back to the same profile. So let's do 2 actually. So Sauvage, and then I had Muzna on my wrist, and then we had XLNC on the left, and then we had Alternate Fragrances here. Wow, that's a lot of Sauvage DNA. Now, right, like I rightly said, the Alternate Fragrances and the OG are very similar. Muzna Bice is a little loud, so is XLNC, and if you can actually notice my hand, you can see the oil residue on the XLNC one, and a little bit of that on the Muznas as well. Luckily you wouldn't see that on Alternate Fragrances Alt, and then you don't see it on the OG as well. So that's the quality of Alternate Fragrances. I would say that there's no oil residue. It's almost alike like the OG itself. Dior Sauvage is a very popular fragrance for many, and it becomes a signature scent for many for obvious reasons. It's got bergamot, it's got Szechuan pepper, it's got lavender, it's got ambroxan and vanilla. While the EDT version was released in 2015 and the EDP came in 2018, there's a Perfume edition and also the Elixir, which is a separate line. But what really makes Dior Sauvage unique is the creation. So when I say the creation, the perfumer is Francis Demarche. He's the one who created Dior Sauvage, and he specifically wanted something. So there is a particular person or a farmer, so to say, who sources the bergamot for Francis Demarche's Sauvage line, and Francis Demarche wanted a particular type of bergamot that comes from Calabrian. That's why it's called a Calabrian bergamot, that comes with a specific type of a note that can bring out the freshness. And when you bring up all of these combinations of top notes like the bergamot, lavender, star anise, Szechuan pepper, and ambroxan, it creates an amazing aura around you, which is fresh, which is sharp. It's a fusure, right? So it comes out really well. Now the EDT and the EDP, the only difference is on the EDP, on the middle note there are some floral notes, whereas on the EDP it does not have that, and it kind of is more vibrant towards the spice element, and that's what makes it really good and very popular. So that's the reason why Dior Sauvage is so very popular with people, and you either make that your signature scent initially, or you kind of just do not like it and just move on to another fragrance. So after the first 30 minutes, the OG and alternate fragrances are very similar. Okay, what's really changed here is the Muzna fragrance is become loud and is giving out that DNA of Sauvage, and so is XLNC. Okay, both are loud. It's a little like they've just come out and they're ready to fight kind of thing. So loud, so nice. Smells really good though at this point of time. Both are very similar in terms of scent profile. Let's see how it progresses to the next 1 hour. So after about an hour, which is literally around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and the change is that the OG and alternate fragrances are a little mild in terms of the way they are performing. Muzna is going quite strong. XLNC feels like it's on steroids, right? It's like really loud, and you can definitely feel the difference between the two. It's really loud at this point of time, and this was one of the first alts that I actually got, and I actually bought the others only for testing purposes. So this was my only Dior Sauvage alt that I actually had initially, right? So after about an hour and a half, things have kind of settled down. The OG is kind of mellowed down a bit, and so is the alternate fragrances. It's kind of matching profile to profile, while XLNC is just giving out the Sauvage DNA. So is XLNC as well, right? The Muzna and XLNC are doing really well in terms of producing that DNA, and they're going at it pretty loud, pretty nice, very beautiful fragrance at this point of time. So after about 2.5 hours time, Muzna is giving out that DNA of Sauvage, continuing to do that, while XLNC has kind of mellowed down a little, and the OG and the DK's alt have moved towards the lavender note. It smells a little bit of powdery at this point of time. So the transition of notes is happening, but Muzna's Sauvage is still on the top note, or on the linear side at this point of time, or throughout from the time we started testing it's been on that. The DK's alt has kind of moved to the mid notes, or moving towards the base notes, you can say. XLNC is still slightly making the transition, it's not there yet. This is almost after 2.5 hours time. So after 3 hours time, which is almost at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, what has happened is Muzna is going strong. The OG and DK have kind of become a little skin close and a little powdery. XLNC also is still a little powdery, but these two are a lot lower in terms of the projection. The projection right now is only happening from the Muzna's Dior Sauvage alt. After about 4.5 hours time, the OG is almost like evaporated. Literally, you can't really smell it. Whereas alt is also very skin close. Now XLNC is moved towards the powdery side. You can kind of get whiffs of lavender. But our man Muzna's alt is still going very strong on the performance bit. So after 6 hours, when I when I could really calibrate and check, the OG is completely vanished, and DK's alt is like literally vanished, but it's just there. XLNC is kind of moved towards the vanilla base, kind of a very powdery note. Muzna's alt is still giving off the Sauvage DNA, and you can still smell it pretty good at this point of time. So it's almost after 6 hours time. So finally, what's really happened in this case is the OG kind of evaporated first, okay, and but the oils were still going on. It's just that alternate fragrances kind of evaporated almost on the same lines of that of OG. XLNC, XP12 and Muzna's alt both have been pretty good, so to say. Now what really has changed, or what really is changing here, is This leaves oil residue, which is the XP1 from XLNC, and also has got a bit of a synthetic vibe to it, and if not that, or a little bit of a sharp edge, I would say, across the notes. This Muzna Fragrances Alt is a very good value for money alternate for Dior Sauvage, and I think at what performance it can give. I mean, if you're looking at a fragrance and you want the Dior Sauvage's DNA, that note to be linear note all across, and you want to get some crazy performance, this is it. This is performing at one level or at one volume throughout so far, right? Now in XLNC's case, what's happened is at one point of time it kind of projects much more stronger than Muzna's fragrance. That is something that you really have to keep in mind, that this is a good alt as well. It's just that it's got a bit of that synthetic vibe. So in closing, what I have to say is this was my first alt, like I said, and I have always liked this because for me this felt really good. So I never really thought that something can get better than this. Probably there will be a alt that can compete with this. So yes, if I had to pick between the three, of course it would be Muzna by Sauvage. That would be really good for the kind of pricing. I think you should get a 50 ml for close to about 800 rupees, whereas this 20 ml is about 375 rupees. Now the thing about the XLNC one is that in my initial buy I got about 6 fragrances, BDC, this, Perfume, and Men in Black, and so forth. This was the one that really performed right from the beginning, right? The others all needed some time to macerate, for it to really do well, or for you to actually get some performance out of it. This was out of the box kind of thing, and it really performed well. So I kind of always had a thought that this was really good types, right? So anyways, so more value for money is definitely Muzna Fragrances alt of Sauvage, definitely. And so the winner when it comes to Sauvage and the clones is today it's Muzna buys Muzna Fragrances alt of Sauvage. Okay, and a disclaimer: these are my own buys, my own purchase samples for the comparison, and not a sponsored video. If you like the content, please subscribe and share. I do really want to hit a certain mark before a certain duration, and I really need your support in getting there. I have other videos of Dior Homme Intense and Bleu de Chanel also with regards to the same type of comparison. You can also leave your thoughts and notes to suggest other or videos that we can bring about to do similar comparison. My name is Rodney. You have a pleasant evening. Thank you so much.